Welcome. In front of me I have the OnePlus Pad Go 2, and today I'll be going over unboxing along with a quick look at this device, see its specifications, build quality, and just give you my general opinions about it. I do want to kind of first talk about just look right here. This for some reason screams to me iPad, which is kind of, I guess OnePlus is trying to constantly copy them, but yeah, this is kind of getting ridiculous, I would say, to what extent they're going. But anyway, I just open it up. So we have two little pull tabs right here, which pull off in one piece. Samsung, you should take a note how you're supposed to do this. Okay, now let's flip it over, and inside here, right off the bat, we have the tablet itself. There we go. Now this camera looks even crappier than on the photo. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna set it up to the side for the time being, as we also have something in here, which appears to be charging cable. Typical OnePlus flavor right here, and instruction. And that's it. Literally nothing else in the box. Great. So, just yeet that and move to the device. So, booting it up, we will be presented with a whopping 12.1 inches display. Come on, turn on. There we go. And the display right here is unfortunately just a LCD IPS with 120 Hz refresh rate. Surprisingly enough, it also has Dolby Vision support and a typical brightness of 900 nits. It boasts 86.8% screen to body ratio and a pixel density of 283 pixels per inch. And the resolution for this is at 1980 by 2800. So I would say a pretty okay resolution for the tablet. I'm just kind of sad that it's not using the AMOLED display or OLED one. That would have been so much nicer, especially for content viewing, like for instance TV, shows, Netflix and all that stuff. But nonetheless, it's still nice that they included a 120 Hz refresh rate right here. So quickly going through the setup just so you can take a look at I believe it's OxygenOS that it's running on here. Now I am going to skip everything as we don't really care about this. There we go. Now, as you've probably seen going through the setup right here, it bears resemblance to other devices like Oppo, Vivo, and Realme. Now, the reason for that is this is kind of owned by the same company, so their OSs, even though they're named differently, they're basically the same thing. Even the clone phone app that it comes in here, or in this case tablet one, still same thing, basically works interchangeably between all of these four devices. So anyway, so here's our device home screen. Pretty almost minimal bloatware. I think. Wait, let's see. We have things like Netflix right here. We have LinkedIn for some reason, and some other crap right here. But still, this is pretty minimal in terms of bloatware. Now, going into the settings, let's take a look at probably right here. There we go. We are running OxygenOS 16.0.1, and this specific version of the device has 128 gigabytes of storage. There is a 256 gig version, and it has 12 gigabytes of RAM. 8 gigabytes of RAM, my bad. So both of them do have the same kind of amount. And it's being powered by a MediaTek 7300 Ultra. Comes with 10,050 mAh battery. Here's our RAM. Now you can see we have 8 plus 8. It's converting some of this storage right here into RAM. Now, generally this is fine, especially when you have a lower amount of RAM right here. It might help you in accessing different applications quicker, but as it's gonna store them open in RAM a little bit longer. But if you're getting into a position where it's constantly like rewriting this, it might actually damage over time the storage, as normal storage like this one is primarily used to store data, not to have it very frequently written over and then removed and, you know, rinse and repeat this process hundreds of times per day. This will damage your device, or specifically storage, as storages like this have a rating for how much data they can read onto it, like repeatedly. So once you surpass that, it will eventually start malfunctioning. So depending on how often you use it, how often it removes it and rewrites it, it might have some kind of impact on the storage, which no one really ever talks about. But anyway, let's continue on. You can see in terms of cameras right here, we are looking at a dual 8 megapixel sensors, which are listed right over here. And to be more precise, actually, sorry, we're not going to be more precise, as even GSM Arena doesn't have any more info. But both of these cameras do 1080p 30 frames. And just to do a double check of this, we can open it up while using the app. And let's go to video. So here we have 1080p 30. And we have 720p 30. So literally nothing else in here in terms of quality. And same thing goes if we flip it over and try that again. Again, same thing. So there we go. In terms of cameras, it's not the best, as you probably already gathered by looking at these sensors that we have here. They look absolutely tiny. So anyway, let's continue on with the internals. With that battery that I mentioned being over 10,000 milliamps, we also have a 33 watt charging speed, so that's pretty good. And obviously that's a Type-C. I just want to mention this just in case you're wondering, but it's a standard. So 33 watts with a pretty damn good processor powering it, and I would say sufficient amount of RAM. Now, one of the most important things in any device will be the price for it, and I should probably brace myself that this is OnePlus. It actually costs 350 euros. That's honestly not that bad. For what you get right here is a damn good tablet for the money. So, sorry if you can hear some kind of noise from behind the door. I apologize, but I can't really do much about it. It's my boss. So anyway, for 350 euros, now I am gonna actually double check it just to be absolutely sure that this is about how much it costs. And yeah, it looks to be about the price. Now obviously this might vary depending on which option you go for, as we have the 128 and 256 gig storage. So if you go for the one that has more storage, you might need to pay a little bit extra. And by the looks of it, you can see there is no expandable storage anywhere on this device. So if you need more, you will need to pay more right out of the box. Now another thing that I want to mention, the aspect ratio for this device, it's not a 16:9, it's more like a 16:10 by the looks of it, or maybe even more. It's not really labeled right here, so I can't really give you like a real figure, but you can see it is a bit, if you're holding it in landscape mode, it's still kind of tall. And when watching movies, even the ones that would be in 16:9, or like YouTube specifically would be a great example for this, you're gonna have black bars on top and the bottom because of this. Now, I do have to say, the tablet feels fine. The bezels right here are pretty good for current times on a tablet that is at this price range. The fact that it has 120 Hz refresh rate is pretty damn good. Battery wise, it's for a device this size is nothing special, I would say, but it's still a relatively good size. Now the thing that I would probably like to have a little bit higher would be the charging speed. At 33 watts, it's kind of scratching the bare minimum, I would say, at this point, like 2025. I don't accept any devices that are charging below 33 watts. This is already kind of low. If you consider that, for instance, something like a Xiaomi device can charge at 120, you can see like it's a 4 times faster charging speed compared to what we have right here. And to not kind of be unfair to this, some other companies should put a little bit more effort into this, because dipshits at Samsung think that 25 watts for a flagship phone is okay. This budget, maybe mid-range tablet, I'd probably call it more mid-range, has faster charging than an effing flagship from Samsung. Now that should give you a little bit of an understanding how fucked the Samsung is with their dipshit logic, their conniving piece of shit design, where they're trying to more like scoop up as much profit from their devices as humanly possible. They don't give you anything that is really worth your money at this point. Here, actually, I think this is a relatively good price. And that being said, I am not sponsored by OnePlus or anything like that. This is out of our money right here. So this is, completely unbiased opinion that I'm saying. So I have no kind of agenda to tell you that, this device is great, because I'm hoping that OnePlus will come in and just, give me some new devices. I don't really care about that. So this opens up the possibility to talk shit about any device without any kind of repercussion, unlike 90, probably 9% of YouTubers. Now, one thing that I want to talk about when it comes down to OnePlus and their OxygenOS, it's a pretty nice OS right here. It has a nice flair to it. It looks appealing, I would say, modern, with additional options in here that you don't really see often. So for instance, if we go into display, I believe it's going to be here, home screen settings. So we have a bunch of different settings, which I can't find for the love of God right now. But you can, for instance, edit what kind of toggles we have visible here, notifications. Just generally settings for this device is pretty good. Where it kind of falls apart, which I do want to mention, is, for instance, power saving mode is absolutely abhorrent right here. So if we go into the battery right here, you can see that right now at 60% with the effing 10,000 milliampere battery, we're getting a 26-hour battery life. With the power saving mode, we're only extending that by a measly 2 hours, and with super power saving mode, the one that basically removes your wallpapers and all the other crap, yeah, we're getting another 2 hours of battery life. Now that is a very piss poor amount of battery in power saving mode. Same thing kind of extends to things like do not disturb modes and other settings that you typically have a little bit more control over. Here they're a bit more cut down, and I don't remember this being like that all the time. So it seems like OnePlus is really going for that Apple logic. Remove the settings to make it as dumb as possible so every grandma can use it. So in general, I do have to say I still like this. It looks good, runs well, so it's fine. And I think there's not much more to say about the display OS. There's one thing that I did want to also mention, the build quality of this device. So the display right here is MOSH level 6, if I remember correctly. Yep, MOSH level 6. And there's no kind of protection applied to it out of the box. Some devices do come with some kind of foil applied. Nothing like that here. The frame right here is made out of plastic. So again, in terms of durability, not the most durable with such a frame. And the back is, well, it's not really mentioned, but I'm pretty sure it's plastic as well. So in terms of bending, I'm pretty sure I could probably break this easily, so I'm not even gonna try, as plastic doesn't really give you that much structural integrity right here. So yeah. And another thing is we have power button at the very top, and then on the side we have our volume rockers, and it looks like there is no fingerprint sensor on this device whatsoever. I just quickly check in the settings. So we'll be looking for, just search for it. Yep, we have face unlock and a fingerprint. Oh, sorry, nothing. A pin pattern or password and face unlock. So no fingerprint sensor whatsoever anywhere on this device. Now, anyway, that about sums up the video. It was pretty straightforward right here. Nothing really annoying happening. The cameras are a little bit on the lower end in terms of what they can do, but it's a tablet, so that probably gets a pass from almost everyone. Not very many people go out and take photos with their 12-inch tablet. This is more like a computer screen almost. But other than that, the device has pretty damn good specs. It's gonna run super smoothly. with a nice battery smooth refresh rate for the display, good battery life, and if you're looking for a tablet that is affordable, I think this actually will do the job pretty damn well. It even should be doing well in terms of gaming. Might not be getting gaming at the, like peak of it, Genshin Impact max settings, 120 and all that stuff, even though the device has 120, but it should still get you, I would presume, maybe 60. Haven't checked it, but the Dimensity 7300 Ultra is a damn good processor. So anyway, that's about it. So I hope you found this very helpful, and if you did, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.